Hi everyone, this is my first time going live. I have zero viewers. That's great. Um, I was just watching Gary's keynote and it was speaking about the volume of content. And one of the biggest thing it spoke about was how important it is for us to produce content in volume. And a lot of times we get caught up in quality or quantity. And he spoke about everyone starts demonizing quantity, that once you're producing a lot of quantity you start compromising on the quality. But he said for someone who is just starting out, people like us just getting started, literally starting from the bottom, for us quantity is important because that is when you will start really discovering more about yourself and your content. Like he said, if you're creating 85 pieces of content, right, not all of them are going to be good, obviously, but what's going to happen is, first of all, we're going to become good, right? The more you do something, the more you practice something, the better you become at it, right? First thing. Second thing, it'll get you into this discipline and this commitment of creating content, which is so important. Like it's a characteristic you must have, which is commitment, because it's a huge commitment to create all this content. The second thing was, um, once you're creating so much content, you will start to get that kind of feedback. So if you're creating 80 pieces of content, right, there are going to be some posts which get a lot of engagement, and not engagement because of numbers, engagement because of the fact, you could see what is something that other people are gravitating towards and what is something that is just flat out. So I was seeing a lot of interesting stuff in that. He said what usually stops us is, like, what am I going to say? I look stupid. I'm going live. I have zero viewers. I don't know how any of this works. I'm doing this for the first time. But I'm like, I'm going to do it. Like, what if I go live every day for an hour and like just, I don't know what am I going to do, but something. I feel like I'm going to at least figure out something. Because what's more important than perfection, what's more important than quality is actually doing it in the first place. And I feel like I get defeated thinking about I should create it like this is how the thumbnail should be, this is how I should edit, and so on and so forth. So I feel like going live would be something interesting, because if I would have a podcast, yeah, say for an hour, what happens is that to edit that podcast it takes me about 6 hours, because not that I'm like really editing and doing all this like crazy animation or anything, but even to chop out those little uhs and something that where we just quiet, like just little things, like kind of review the whole thing and listen to it. It's really, really time consuming. So I'm like, wait, is that a productive use of my time? I'm not sure. So I thought going live would be something interesting and we could definitely try it. And no one's watching. I don't know how live works. This is the first time I'm doing it. Um, but I'm just, because no one's watching, I'm not gonna let that stop me, I guess, from executing. So maybe I would go live every day for an hour. I don't know how it's gonna work. I don't know if YouTube promotes it or whatever, but that is something we are gonna do. It's just been 3 4 minutes. It feels like a lifetime. I wish if people were watching, it would have been so fun. I can't imagine the time. Someone is watching. Oh my god, who is it? Whoever's watching, could you? Yeah, they clicked off. They don't give a fuck. Great. Oh, someone is watching again. Whoever's watching, would you please comment down below so I could know that you're watching it? That's so cool. Anyway, so what I understood after watching Gary's keynote, which was almost an hour long, he was talking about producing content. Why is content so important? We keep on pushing about, make videos, make this, make that. Because what I've understood from my personal experience is that content is the gateway to every dream you've ever had. Whether it's a job you're trying to get, whether it's you're trying to build a community. Hi, Tuti. Red. So cool. Thank you for watching the live stream. That is so cool. I'm like, you're the first viewer of my live stream. I'm gonna remember this shit forever. That's crazy. So I was just talking about, I watched Gary's keynote and he was talking about content. And why content is so important is because you get to put yourself out there. Once you think about all these leaders that we had in the past, like Martin Luther King, Muhammad Ali, what they had in common was they were excellent communicators. They would communicate with the world. And back in the time, communication happened through media, which was newspapers, which was radio, which was television news. Now the way we are communicating with people is through social media. And how are we communicating is by making videos, is by written format, is by creating photos and things like that. It is extremely, extremely important for us, because once you're creating content, you start to gather this audience, this influence, and that audience has a huge, huge weightage, not just for you to monetize them somewhere in the future, but even for your opportunities. You create this community, even if it's like 100 people, right? Now imagine having like 100 die-hard friends who will do anything for you, right? That is the power of it. If you try to get a job somewhere, you could start a podcast and start calling people on your podcast and build a relationship, instead of cold emailing people like, hi, I'm this and I want to do this. You could actually create a podcast and call them on your podcast. And the reason it's so cool is because people feel special. They're like, wait, they want me on the podcast? Like, who am I? You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people get caught up in, how am I going to do it, this and that. But generally, if you have a phone or a laptop, you can pull it all off. Now I have a phone. Earlier, I did not even have a phone. So, like a good phone to record. So, I was recording videos on my photo booth. And I would just record them, edit them on iMovie, which is for free, and just roll with it. Because I was like, I really have to work with whatever I have, even like the most little shit I have. Only that is when I know that I'll actually deserve something in the future. So many people get cameras and all this equipment, but they're good for nothing. They wouldn't do anything. So a lot of this is speaking about you as a person, the kind of decisions you make, the kind of commitment you have, and that's really big for me. If I say that I'm going to go live every day for like 10 minutes, every day for an hour, depending upon how this is, I'm doing this for the first time. There is, thank you, Tipsy Red. um, the reason it can be important is how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if I'm going live every single day, there's a certain commitment, there's a certain kind of discipline that it requires. And if I'm able to pull off that kind of discipline, if I'm able to pull off that kind of a commitment, that is going to play out in other parts of my life as well. And I love people, and I love the idea of creating a community where everyone's kind of helping each other or build each other up as young people, as people who are trying to accomplish their dreams, but haven't quote unquote become successful. They're still figuring it out. They are still in that process, like just in the process, just figuring shit out, do not know what they're doing, but then irrespective of how little information you have, you keep on doing, you keep on moving forward, even if it's just a little bit. I see there are 2 people watching. Whoever you guys are, I love you. Thank you. I'll always remember you. This is my first live stream. I cannot believe it. Earlier I had 0 viewers, now I have 2. That's amazing. Whoever's the second viewer, could you please comment down below so I know who you are? Tipsy Red, I'm gonna remember you forever, dude. No joke. Um, so I really feel that young people, us going to school and stuff, we're not taught the realistic shit that we need in the world. Things like to cultivate discipline, things like to cultivate perseverance, things like how to network. Hi, Vedant. Tipsy Red, like, I love you. You're so cool, creating a whole community of yourself. I love that. So I was just talking about that in school. I never really learned anything that I'm able to apply now in my life. Things like discipline, things like perseverance, things like how to network with people. All of this I learned from business books. All of this I was able to learn from watching Gary a lot. And he taught me so many important things. Something like how important it is for us to be a good human being, to be able to succeed in business. So I just started this podcast. You guys would see me interviewing all these people. And I'm not doing it so much as to show and for a podcast. I'm doing it to build relationships with these people. Either these people are in the business world, like the CEOs of startups, or they're just like people like me, young people creating content, try to figure out on their own. And if I'm able to build this network, either of these CEOs who are ahead of me and who can always advise me and who are always going to be like kind of pull me up, or whether it's with these people who are in my lane who are doing exactly what I'm doing. If any of them hits as in, becomes successful, ends up running a like super successful company, I would have a relationship with them. So instead of cold emailing them, which is like, there's a certain Devika that exists somewhere, we talk on Skype, right? And it's a video call, so you get to see each other, you get to talk, you get to like share and laugh. That is just a different kind of connection altogether. And I cannot tell you how valuable it is. Like literally, I've made friends who work at Gary's employees. I would just hit them up on Instagram DM and be like, "Hi guys, this is me. I've started a podcast. Would you like to come as a guest on it?" And they say yes. And then we have an hour worth of. Imagine you if you have a company you want to work for, whether it's just people you think are cool, you like what they're doing as an artist or whatever. If you have a podcast, you can actually build relationships with them, and you'd be surprised how many people say yes, because people really are starting to understand how valuable it is to conquer the audio platform, which is to come on the podcast, and someone inviting them as a guest. And that are not celebrities, people with a lot of followers, but just like regular people. You imagine someone calling you for a podcast, you would be like, wait, me? Like, why are you calling me? And just that fascination, you start to build a relationship with that person. Like, I was on Devika's podcast. Like I'm no one. But the fact that I acknowledged them, thinking that they're credible, that they came on my podcast, I've built this special relationship with them. And there's so many people I still talk to. We still interact with each other on Instagram, whether it's like liking or commenting on each other's posts or whatever. It's a real deal. So social media is a media, right? Social media, it's about socializing. It's not so much about like you take a picture of yourself like, hey, this is me with this edit and I look pretty. But social media is about connecting with the people. And what social media gives access to is connecting with the world. So you sitting in India, you sitting in the States, you sitting in like any part of the world, you can literally connect with anyone and everyone. It is so special. And that is why I feel like it's so important for us to take advantage of it. Like you people watching it are not just my viewers. I would literally give up anything to have someone mentor me. And you guys, I feel like all of us are in this together because you're young or you're not. Like we're just all in this together. Like this one life. We're trying to figure out how do we want to be happy. We're trying to figure out what is it that success means to me or whatever it is, right? But we're all trying to like, I don't know, I feel like everyone's looking for the same thing. Either it's money, either it's health, either it's relationships, either it's happiness. So irrespective of how different we are, irrespective, there's a third viewer. Hello. um, Please comment down below the third viewer so I know who you are, so I remember you. This is my first live stream. So I was saying, we're all concerned about, hi Osman. So I was saying that we're all concerned about like the basic problems, happiness, money, relationships, what else? I feel like these are like the basic stuff, right? Health. So irrespective of how different we are, irrespective of what part of the world you're from, irrespective of what language you speak, we come on the common grounds because we're all so similar. You know what I'm saying? So it becomes easier to do things together with people instead of doing everything and hustling everything alone. And I feel like social media is such a big part of that, where you can actually genuinely build relationships with people. You can genuinely become friends with people. And it's incredible the opportunities it would bring you. If there's a dream company you want to work for, you can actually, instead of hitting up the CEO, you could start seeing who is the CEO's friend. You could start seeing who's the CEO's right hand. You could start seeing the employees and start hitting them up on Instagram DM and just be like, hi guys, I have a podcast, would you like to come on it? And you will lead from there. So instead of reaching to the CEO directly, you start building relationships with people who are close to him. So you have some sort of credibility when you reach to him. So their right hand can introduce you instead of you just like flat out cold emailing them. You know what I'm saying? So just things like that. And that is something I'm so big on. And that is something I really, really feel like is the biggest advantage of the time we're living in. Like anything you want to become is possible, irrespective of what you feel. This is a fact, because there is nothing stopping you. There is no middleman, there's no government, there is no old person who's stopping you. There is just you, and there are people you want to reach, and then there's the internet. And internet does not discriminate from who you are, where you're from, what language you speak, how much money you make, and all sorts of things, you know? So I really hope that you guys would take full advantage of that. And I really hope that my content brings you value, because that is like, I'm just trying to document the process of how I'm going about things. And some things I'm so sure of, and there are some things that I have no fucking idea what I'm doing. But what I want to do is document. So the podcast is not so much about being a podcast, like I said, it is me networking with people. And I try to document that process and put it up. So if you feel like you would want to network with people sometime in the future, you see how it's done. You know, like I would pick up questions that both of us can have a whole ass conversation on, you know, instead of like, hey, how are you? Where are you from? We ask a question like, you know, are you happy? Flat out. So imagine speaking with someone about topics like, are you happy? You know, I don't think people in their day-to-day life even ask them that. But you taking that step and being that listener, that kind of, those kind of conversations just build some different kind of, you could say, just a different kind of relationship with the person, you know? Because irrespective of, like I said, where they're from, what language they speak, happiness is a concern, and you could talk about it, you know? Either they would say yes, so you could discuss like what makes you happy and have a thriving conversation on that. Or if they say no, you could be a lending ear, and you don't have to give an advice or anything like that, but you could definitely be a lending ear as to, you know, what is it that does not make you happy. And you could start understanding what is it that people gravitate towards. You could start understanding what is it that makes people unhappy. So in your mind, you know that how you are supposed to conduct yourself as a person. You know what I'm saying? Does it make sense? And another thing I was just remembering, like all of us say that social media, right? Mental health, people being mean to each other, people bullying each other on comments, and all sorts of things. We all put it out on social media, you know, like Instagram should hide its likes and all sorts of things. But what we don't do is take accountability of ourselves. Instead of talking about people leaving hate comments, people bullying each other, you start thinking like, wait, me as a person in my day-to-day life, how is it that I conduct myself? How is it that my interactions are happening with people? You know? And if you start focusing on that, that I'll make sure that anyone in my immediate environment, whether it's my friend, whether it's an acquaintance, whether it's my family, a neighbor, whoever, I'm going to make sure that I treat them with respect and make them feel comfortable. Because a lot of people's anxiety and mental health problems don't, it does come from themselves, but so much of it is predicated on other people, you know? Like if I go out, right? So many people have social anxiety, and that comes from social anxiety, means social, that means it comes from going out, comes from other people. That someone comes out with a friend's friend and meets a huge group of friends, right? And all these group of friends are not that fun. I won't say fun. They're not. They don't go out of their way to make the other person feel comfortable. And if you, as one person, like whenever you go to a party, right, or whenever you go to any kind of social gathering, you see if there's this one person who's kind of uncomfortable, who's kind of shy, you go out of your way to make that person feel comfortable. Like just go and strike up a conversation and be that person for the world. Don't you think that would be so cool? Like all your anxiety would just be out the window. If you feel like, if you're coming to me, right? If you're coming in a party where I am, if you're coming to a social gathering that I am in, wouldn't you feel more comfortable knowing that there's this one person who is not gonna let me feel alone? There's this one person who's not gonna make me feel um, kind of left out and awkward, and I do not know how to talk, and I'm all alone and just on my phone. You know, isn't it such a comfort to know that? And instead of expecting other people to do, I try to do that. So many times I would just go out with my friends, and then they would have their friends, and everyone's just like so high on energy, and I'm just like on my phone. I'm like, what am I doing? You know, if I don't have the courage to talk to people, it's so shitty being on your phone. Like you're not even on your phone; you're just trying to escape from where you are. So instead of thinking that someone should come save me, someone should come and help me, I don't only try to save myself. I try to save other people. I'm like, wait, if I'm awkward, that means there's someone else who might be awkward. And I go and I try to strike up a conversation, you know. And I feel like the good karma, bad karma thing works. Like if I am going out of my way to make other people feel comfortable, if I'm going out of my way to be kind, um, when it's my time, when I feel like I feel left out, where I'm in a place where I feel intimidated, there will be someone who will help me feel calm and comfortable. And I feel like that's just such a wonderful culture to be at. And you can create that culture for yourself wherever you are, whether it's with friends, whether it's at school, whether it's at college. Make it about the people. It could be anyone. It does not necessarily have to be your friends. It could be acquaintances. So once you start building up a real relationships with people, if it's like just an act of kindness of when someone is having lunch alone or whatever, you know, like you just go sit there and speak with them, all that shit goes a long way. You just don't know when you need someone. You just don't know where this one kid you had lunch with when he was alone is 20 years from now CEO of like one of the biggest companies. That guy's gonna remember your ass. So I really feel that like people are the real ROIs. If you go, because it's difficult to like for me, right? I'm focused on YouTube. So for me, it is difficult to get viewership, right? Like to call viewers, like who am I gonna go and hustle? I literally every view you see, like even if it's 30 views, I've personally worked for it. Like every time I have to go up in the comments and do everything and like literally hustle every single view. Like on Instagram, you know, you get on certain discover pages, but for YouTube, you really have to get every fucking viewer yourself. So what I started doing was I was like, fuck it. Like instead of just considering these people as just viewers who eventually once they become greater in number, I'll be able to monetize them. Every viewer, I'm gonna build a personal relationship with. Every person I'm interacting with on my podcast, I'm going to make a personal relationship with them. So it's not just one-on-one person. Now that could be a word of mouth. That you know, I know this girl Devika, and we just met on the internet, and this is what she does, and this is what I does, and I start creating my network exponentially bigger. You know, instead of from one to one to one to one, I go from 1 to 5 to 10, and that is how I try to see it. You know, just people are the ROI. And so many times I spoke with Gary's employees, and I'm not gonna go speak with Gary myself, but so many times I spoke with his employees. They were all really nice, cool people, and we built like kind of a relationship. You know, now we're friends. We're commenting on each other's posts and stuff, and it's really cool. So one day when I do meet him, or one day when my shit grows, I have kind of already trying to figure out my steps, even in the most little information I have possible. You know, it's just about creating possibilities. You don't know where, what, when something strikes. You don't know what, when, where something sticks out to someone. And I really feel like we should invest in people and just like kind of genuine relationships with people will go a long way. Just being nice with people, just being kind, just going out of your way to help people. You don't know who's going to be where, you don't know who's going to be doing what. And remember, like, every time you're kind to someone, every time you go out of your way to be there for someone, it's always going to come back to you. Even if it's not from the same person, it's going to come back to you in form of like karma point. You know, like you get what you give. So if you give out good, if you constantly go out of your way to give love, if you constantly go out of your way to give kindness, if you constantly go out of your way to just give out this good shit, it's all gonna come back around to you. And I feel like that is one of the biggest things I am trying to play on. And I know it's a winner's mentality, it's a winner's strategy, and that is something I truly believe. So it's getting difficult to find things to talk about. And it's been 24 minutes. It's really hot here. So I don't know what else. What do you do for enhancing productivity? Because I really struggle with that. Enhancing productivity. So something about productivity is the biggest thing is you have to enjoy what you do. You know, think about something you enjoy the most. If it's a TV show that you like, do you have to go out of your way to be like, I need to go watch that TV show. Oh my God, let me fix up a time. Let me make up a timetable. Do you keep on postponing it? You don't. You just go out and watch that TV show because you love it so much. In fact, you can't wait to watch it. So whenever you're doing something, it's so important that you believe in it, whether it's a vision you've created for yourself. That is when the micro things you don't want to do, something like I don't want to edit so many times, but I remember the bigger vision behind it. So I do it. I'm like, wait, all of this is going to compound. But in the macro, I love what I do. I really, really believe in it. So that is when a lot of productivity enhances. Once you love what you do, you're just working on your things with a different kind of energy. It's not like, shit, I gotta go do this. But you're like, wait, this is something I believe in. I need to make shit happen, and I'm gonna be the best at it in like my industry. But if it's something you're doing just because you have to do it, if it's something that you're doing you don't believe in it, you're just not gonna come off that strong on it. You would just do it for the fuck of doing it, and you would keep on. That's where procrastination comes in. That is when not being productive comes in. Does that make sense? Did that answer your question? So productivity is a huge thing, and most of it really, really comes from doing something you love, doing something you love, doing something you believe in. And another thing about productivity is creating that environment where you can be productive. I earlier used to work from my bed. My room was depressing as fuck because it's a huge room, all right? It has a double bed, and I would just be on my bed, just try to hustle everything on my bed. And then that's where I would sleep. And then that's where I would work. And that's where I would eat. And that shit was depressing as fuck because there was no environment. I would look up at the walls and I would feel so unmotivated. So what I did was I bought a whiteboard and I bought sticky notes, and with my whiteboard I wrote things I want. I wrote my bigger visions. I wrote my dreams and targets on my whiteboard. So anytime I feel unmotivated, oh my god, anytime I feel I don't want to do this, that is when I would look up at the whiteboard and be like, wait, there is so much for you to accomplish. There is so much for you to do this. Try to create that environment in your room, someone you look up to, stick their picture up, some art piece you like, just something that inspires you. So once you feel down, once you look up at the wall, once you look up at your room, you feel inspired and motivated. So you can do that with sticky notes, you can do that with a whiteboard, you can do with like just a picture and frames. You could just do that with a lot of things. So make sure that your environment allows you to be productive. So right now, like I'm sitting in this heat because I need this environment. There's a dining table here. I'm sitting on my dining table. It has a chair and a table, because my room does not have a table. And I would just do shit from my bed, and I hate being on the bed. So I have to come to the dining table, and it's hot as fuck. There's just like one fucking fan right in front of me, and it's slow as shit. But you gotta do what you gotta do. So loving what you do and creating an environment which allows you to be productive is a big, big, big thing. So I did share a picture of my whiteboard on my Instagram if you follow me there. And I just put up a lot of, even I bought a soft board. Do you know what a soft board is? A soft board you have in schools where the softboard, where you like thumb in pictures or whatever with a pen. I got that shit. So whatever I would write on paper, I would clip it to the softboard. And I really did create an environment for myself. So I have book, I have my purse, I have music constantly playing. Lucknow summers are the worst. That's a fact. Um, Creating an environment for yourself is big, and I feel like a lot of people don't do that. And constantly being, I wouldn't say inspired, but so many times when I would feel uninspired, where I would feel alone, which I do a lot, that no one understands what I'm doing and why am I doing this. You just start to get inside your own head a lot. That is when I listen to Gary. And you can do that through YouTube. You can look at people you look up to, and Gary posts a video every day. So many times I just watch his video as soon as I'm about to start my work. I get hyped up and I'm ready to attack. You know, a lot of times when I feel uninspired, a lot of times when I feel alone, I try to feed my mind something that it thrives on, which is, you could say it's kind of a motivation, but it is so much like, wait, if I feel alone, like no one's working with me, I try to watch someone who is working. Even that's not physically in my environment, but that shit's on YouTube. So you can go up on YouTube and you see that people you admire are working. and way, way, way harder than you, the least you can do is sit down and get your shit done. So that's a huge thing. I just shared a post on Instagram right now which spoke about you are the average of 5 people you associate with most. And it really is one of the biggest things. And I couldn't find people I was inspired and motivated by for a long time. And I felt alone and I felt no one understands me. But I kept praying. I was like, I must find people who are better than me. I must find people who are way, way ahead of me. So even though I did not find people physically around me, physical friends, physical circle, I found, can't find me on Instagram. My Instagram is Devika. Wait, you can see my name. I guess just hang on, I'll let you know. Yeah. It's, can you see it? It's Devika underscore Khandelwal, and it has like this funny anime picture. Yeah. So I was saying you were the average of 5 people you associate with most, right? So even if I found it very difficult to find physical friends around me, that I was good. You found me. That's dope. Thank you, Osman. I love you, man. That's so cool. I love you guys. Um, Even though I struggled a lot with finding physical friends around me, I found people I wanted to be like. I found people I could learn from in books. I found people was massively admirers. Like I used to admire them a lot on YouTube. And I started feeding myself of that energy. Watching YouTube videos was a huge thing for me. It constantly, I was feeding my brain information where I could learn, where I could constantly grow. Whether it was watching Gary or whether it was just pure entertainment where virtual fist bumps, yo, can you see this? Let's like fist bump, boom. Like that PewDiePie, that shit. Um, YouTube was a huge part of me because once I was struggling, I was like, fuck, I'm alone, I have no friends and shit. I went up to YouTube videos and found that, wait, there are young people who work hard, who love what they do, are cool as fuck, and just do amazing shit. And I couldn't believe it. And that is what I started feeding myself off. That is the energy I started feeding myself. And that is what my brain eventually became like. That everything is possible. That there are people who work hard and who make shit happen, and then there are people who just sit and complain. There's this YouTuber Thomas Frank. Have you seen any of his shit? No, I haven't. I consume like very minimal people, and I consume them like to the core of it because that is what I thrive on. I haven't. What kind of a YouTuber is he? I've mostly consumed like either business stuff or stuff related to like kind of social media. And the top one obviously is Gary. Then there is Jake Paul. Even though Jake does a lot of entertainment shit, he is an incredible, incredible business person. And if you really look into his vlogs, he always would snip in business advices which are priceless. So I always picked out of that. I watch Logan a lot. Logan Paul. He has this podcast called Impulsive. Amazing. I watch this guy Edward Avila. He is a Korean YouTuber. He is cool as fuck. I see his channel's all about productivity. That's cool. One thing, I don't know him, so I cannot say a lot. One thing I made sure of all the people I was consuming, was do a background check on people. I wasn't just consuming anyone. I see. Active reading. That's interesting. Interesting. I'll look them up. One thing that was the biggest for me, every person I consumed, I did a background check on. It wasn't just random people I liked. It wasn't random people making YouTube videos because a lot of people make business videos and all sorts of videos. I actually did a background check on people. So why I would watch Gary and bet my life on his advice? Because Homeboy has actually built a company from 4 million to 60 million. He grew his dad's business. Second, he left that company and built his own company, which is called the Veda Media, which is now a $200 million company. And he was an early investor in Facebook. He was an early investor on Twitter, way before people knew about what social media was actually going to become. He has been historically correct about so many things. And he was talking about podcasts since fucking 2000, I guess 16, 2017, when no one had any clue what a podcast was. So anything that is coming from him, I can truly, truly trust it and truly, truly bet my decisions on it. You know, whether it's Jake, Jake and Logan, both very similar cases. Both of them started from nothing. Both of them came from Ohio and just took over the social media game, just took over the industry. And it was mainly because of their work ethic, their vision, and just the kind of people they are, the kind of a character they are, the characteristics they have. And because I was so inspired and someone I massively look up to, I wanted those characteristics to rub off on me. And therefore, I would watch their videos a ton, a ton. And I feel like a lot of it has, in fact, um, rubbed off on me, whether it was speaking about mental toughness, whether it was speaking about discipline, whether it was speaking about from Gary, just actually being kind and being a good person and really investing on people was a huge thing. So, whoever you are watching, whoever's advice you're taking, make sure you do a background check on them and see what they are about in person and what are they like. I feel like then you would be more secure on applying their advices and actually kind of betting your life on it, making decisions on it. It's very smart to something I felt like I when I dropped out of college, I just did like 1 year, and I was just I took up business as a major, and I was studying business, and I would read these books and shit. And it was so trash. Like everything I was reading just absolutely made no sense. The books were written in 2008, and they talk about marketing. Like 2008, social media didn't even exist. What marketing are these guys talking about? And my teachers and shit. So I was like, wait, like a person like me who wants to build my company, who I don't know, who am I learning from? Became a huge thing for me. These teachers who have no idea what they're doing, they have just read on some books and shit, and they're puking out their knowledge and just kind of, I don't know what kind of environment that was. Versus, who am I learning from? A person who's actually built a successful business, a person who's actually made it as an investor, a person who's actually had some sort of credibility. Am I learning from him, or am I learning from some random ass motherfucker trying to tell me what I should do? You know what I'm saying? That was a big thing for me. And this realization came in when I read this book called Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's a very famous book. It's a finance book, and I took up accounting was one of my subjects in school, and um, I never learned anything worthwhile in accounting for almost 4 years. Versus, I read that book in 3 fucking days, and I learned more about how to make money and how to manage money than I ever could have done. So that is when I started to realize, I'm like, wait, who am I learning from? Whose advice am I consuming? Whose actions am I kind of absorbing? You know what I'm saying? So don't ever take advice from people who haven't done what you want to do. Don't ever take advice from people who are living the kind of life you want to. You don't want to live. It's not always also always about like rich ass people that you should take advice from, but yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. People know that you can make money on YouTube. Therefore, you will find people left and right from every place where um, just making videos on stupid shit, like taking some bits of information from here, taking bits of information here and there and puking it out on the video. And having a really attractive thumbnail and having a really attractive title to pull in viewers. That is not the intent you want to go for. Every person I based my advice on, I really looked at their intent. Why are they producing content? Why is it that they're making videos? Why should I consume it? And the sole intent was because they wanted to help people, not because they wanted to make money. They had different streams of revenue. Their money was not coming from YouTube videos. Ivy joins. Interesting. What drives me? That's a great question. What drives me is basically when it's a long story. When I was in class 11th, I just joined a new school. I hated that place like it was the death of me. I was actually like crying, and I would get a fever thinking about going to school, and I just hated that shit. So when I actually went for my class 11th, I never spoke with anyone, and I would just sit all alone and just do my own shit. And that is when there was this guy who was trying to talk to me, and I would never spoke with anyone, so why would I speak with this random person? And turns out later on he had failed his class 11th. And obviously the principal, his parents went up to the principal. They were like, guys, can you please like just let him take this one exam, let him pass his class and shit like that. But the principal was like, no, he's a piece of shit, he cannot accomplish anything, you're worthless. Told him all sorts of shit, and his parents were there, he was there. And this guy, after having that meeting with the principal, went back and he took his life. It was all out in the newspaper, it was everywhere. And I couldn't understand what happened. I'm a person all about possibilities, and I was like, you can do this and you can do that. And the sole reason of him ending his life was because he couldn't pass a test. And it's and think about this for a second. It's not just he couldn't get certain marks. It's his whole environment, from his family to his school, made him believe that if you do not get a certain percentage, you are worthless. And you cannot judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree. There's so many successful entrepreneurs. I don't know if you watch Shark Tank. One of the sharks is Kevin O'Leary. He is dyslexic. He can't read, he can't do math. And he is such a successful entrepreneur. And I just couldn't understand. I was like, where is all this coming from? And that really, I didn't even know that guy. I never spoke with him. But that just took me aback on so many levels. And I was like, I need to be there for the young people to let them know that school sucks shit. It cannot teach you anything worthwhile for 90% of the people. And even college, as for say, that college is great for some people. If you want to go into medical, if you want to learn, I don't know, specifically healthcare and maybe a little bit of tech, maybe that's when you turn towards college. But for so many people, college is not the answer. They just don't do well in college. But is that supposed to mean that you're a failure in life? And once you actually understand this, India has a huge percentage of young kids who are having suicidal thoughts and who actually end up taking their lives only because school and college. And that is one of the most devastating things I've ever heard. So I made this a personal determination that I am going to take the other route. I am going to take the non conventional road and give up school and find my success outside this stupid formal education world, to pave the way for young kids, especially in India and Asian countries, where kids and parents understand that there's so much out there in the world. Times have changed. It's 2019. The internet's here. School has no role, it has no judgment of your character, of who you are and what you will accomplish. And I want to be able to do that, and in a non-conventional way, and in giving up formal education. So I dropped out of college. I hated that shit, and I want to be an example for young people, to show them that there's so much out there in the world. If you focus on the right things instead of fucking focusing on your marks and all that shit, if you focus on being a good person, if you focus on building discipline, if you focus on building mental toughness, if you focus on creating a network, if you focus on building relationships, genuine relationships with people, how far you'll go than fucking getting some percentage at school. And that really drives me. So it's not just about me making millions of dollars or anything. Now it's so much that I want to create, not a movement or anything, but I want to be a person who paves the way for young people to be able to accomplish their dreams and actually live their life and break out from the shell of their parents and school and society and all of that stuff. Um, Now, that real value of college really depends on what the real value of college is for you. For so many, at least I know only from a business standpoint, that from a business standpoint, it means shit in. I didn't get your question away, but doesn't that say the real value of college education is intangible? Um, Honestly, like I was saying, from a business standpoint, so many business people I've picked up their thoughts on, they always say that they couldn't give two shits about what degree you have, what percentage you have, what was your fucking SAT score or your percentage in your 12th grade. What they care about is if you can provide them results. If you're a person with integrity, if you're a person who can persevere, if you're a person who has a vision, that is what they think, that is what they want to, they kind of bet on the person. And that is the biggest thing in business, at least. I'm talking about the top notch people, Gary running a $200 million company. Elon Musk said that he doesn't give a fuck about even like top tier, top 10 schools in the world. They bet on people. They bet on people's characteristics. They bet on people's values. They bet on people's results. And I don't know what the real college education teaches you that or not. But for some people, I definitely think college is the greatest thing because this requires a lot of discipline. You have to be your own schedule. You have to be your own boss. No matter how cool it sounds, it's really fucking difficult. Once you have to go to college, you have to go to college, right? You get up in the morning, you go to college, you come back. You're in that sort of a discipline because you have your teachers, you have your parents. But once you're doing shit on your own, there is no one calling the shots. Musk has a PhD. It is interesting, but that's what I'm saying. He has a PhD because he genuinely, from his heart and soul, wanted to study technology. He, from his heart and soul, wanted to study whatever he wanted to study. There was no one forcing him. He did not study because it was the right thing to do. He did not study because it was a societal norm. For so many people, they want to learn. They want to put themselves in a position where they can learn. And he did not just get a PhD, he's a constant reader of books which he did not get from college. So many books that he has listed where he based his entire life on those books were books that he picked up from himself. And don't get twisted with what real college education is versus what real education is. I'm constantly reading, I am constantly have books, I'm constantly absorbing knowledge, constantly learning. That has nothing to do with the college system, but that has just my thirst for knowledge and my thirst for becoming better and having leverage against other people. You know what I'm saying? And even though he has a PhD, he himself said in an interview that he would bet on the person. Having a PhD has nothing to do, you can't say how credible a person is, or you cannot say it doesn't guarantee the kind of value they would provide. I'll just give you two examples. I had an amazing argument with one of my friends who actually is a businesswoman, and she was comparing me. She was like, listen, you don't have a degree. What if you one day come for a job? It's you versus there's this girl who came from a top tier school or whatever, right? I just gave her the most interesting answer. That is when I knew that I was actually learning so much from just simple books I was reading. I told her, all right, I would just have one condition. You could hire her all you want. I couldn't give a fuck. I said, the offer I would make you is, I would say that I would work for free for you for the next 3 months. And I ensure that my skills, my whatever, is going to get an increase in your revenue, in your average revenue. Now, whatever, so let's say she's making like 10 lakh a month, right? And if my coming to the picture, if my skill set increases your revenue by whatever percentage it increases, I'll take the 10% of it. There's no loss. It's only a win-win situation for both her and me. She could have a person with a degree all she wants, but at the end of it, her end goal is profit. For as a lot of businesses, profit. I guarantee you profit. I might not have a degree or any sorts of shit. And that is when she said, yeah, she'd pick me because it's the practical world. People want profit. People want to grow. Everyone's looking to grow and become better, right? And that is something that she just could not argue with. And the fact that a person actually had such a smart proposal. Think like she has no losing shit. First of all, she's getting free fucking employment because she's not paying me anything for 3 months. But if her revenue increases, I just take the 10% of it. So even if I get money, she is benefiting 90% from it. Why the fuck would she not pick me up? She can have a person with a degree all she wants. She did. She chose me. And The specific skill set I was providing, I'm working on social media, right? So her whole skill set was, we didn't actually work. It was a hypothetical situation I was telling her. So my shit's social media, marketing and shit. And right now, I'm figuring it out what I'm good at. So one of my biggest thing right now is to work for someone I admire, to actually figure out what is it that I'm good at, to actually figure out what is the value that I can provide. And I'm in talking terms with a lot of people who are running their companies, CEOs and stuff. And for startups, nothing big. And my plan is to move to LA to figure out what is it that I'm good at, to figure out what is it that I love, and just figure shit out. But at least what right now, the skill set I would say I have is the kind of, I feel like the kind of person I'm becoming, and the kind of focus I have, and focus in terms of so many people while speaking on the podcast, I asked them, I was like, what is, you could say, the one thing that you are looking in for people you want to hire? You live in USA? No, I live in India. I asked them, I was like, what is the one thing that you are looking for in people you want to hire? And they said, we're looking for people with vision. It said, how do you plan to move to LA? Yo, it's a huge thing. Moving to LA, the biggest thing in my way right now is a work visa, and it's fucking insane. But right now, I'm just building up relationships with people who are in LA and figure out how we can go about things. So through my podcast, I met like two people I'm already in talking terms with, how we could, it's hot as fuck. With two people I'm talking terms with, so we try to figure out how we can do the whole thing. And just that, like just literally talking with people and building relationships. So once I go there, and H1B, no, not H1B, because H1B is for it's for people who have a STEM course. STEM is like science, technology, some shit, something. No, I do not apply for the STEM visa. I am going to Delhi tomorrow, and I am going to go speak with a couple of immigration lawyers and see how is it we can make this happen. So it's immigration laws are shit, but you know what? I will never let a visa. I will never let things like money or visa and stupid policies and shit come in the way of my dreams. That is something I know for sure. So no matter how difficult it is, I know it's not impossible, and I'll figure a way out of it. Um, that's the truest shit I can tell you, man. Yeah. But I'm speaking with my parents and stuff and saying that I might go to LA for some time, maybe next year or some shit. Um, I would go to LA probably next year or something and figure out, see what it's like there, talk with people, network a little bit, and actually get out dirty and learn how to get shit done. Even though I might not have a working visa, I can still like work for free. What the work visa stops me from is making money there. But making money is like the least of my concerns. It's so much about developing a skill set and working under someone I admire. You should watch Gary Vee, you would understand a lot of it. So that is something I am working on currently, and I will be documenting the entire process from like A to Z, how I'm networking. If there's anyone I meet up there, I'm pretty sure I already have a podcast with them. So if I make it, once I get successful or whatever, all of it is documented. Like you can see where my mind was at this point of time in my life, how was I talking to people, what were we doing, and all sorts of things. So that is one of my biggest things. I want to document the whole process of how we do this, and I think that's cool. I see. Yo, you need to understand that there's so many ways you can make that happen. Is by simply as, if someone sends you an employment, right? Like a big company, not some random motherfucker, but a big company, once they send you an employment letter, like they want to employ you, you'll just get yeah, you will just get the visa once they said that they will employ you. But for them to employ you, you should be the person with a skill set. And because right now I'm just 20 years old, I don't really have a specific skill set. My whole goal right now is to work on developing a skill set, develop myself into a very capable individual that I do come in a place where we can make that happen, you know? Once you start working on yourself to become an asset, like you are an asset for a company. You know what are assets? Like buildings and cash flow and capital is asset. If you as an individual can become an asset for a company, visas and shit would be the least of your concerns. So that is what I'm working on, becoming an asset, making myself credible, developing my skill set, not skill set like marketing and strategy and shit, but skill set like discipline, perseverance, integrity, that kind of shit, which takes a long ass time. Once I can develop that kind of shit, that is what the top notch people bet on. And that is what I bet on. And yeah, man, like if you don't do things you love, you would just suffer with productivity. That is something. But for you could always keep the end mind and goal. You could think about a bigger purpose of why you took up a course you took, and maybe that could help you and things like that. So, Red Tipsy, I really want to thank you so much for being the first viewer for my first ever live stream. It means so much. You have no idea. I thought that I'll just be sitting here for an hour just talking with the fucking camera. But it means a ton. Osman, thank you so much, man. Like all the support, I really, really appreciate it. It means so much to me. And the third person was Vedant. Thank you, Vedant. Thank you, even if you came for a short while, it means so much to me. Um, I'm going to try to do a live stream often. I just don't know how it works. Like I want viewership, but I don't know how to make it work. So probably I'll just Google how to do that and figure it out. And it's been 56 minutes. If I stay for 4 more minutes, it's gonna be an hour, and that was my goal. I never thought I could pull off an hour. I thought I'd just like stay here for fucking an hour, like 10 minutes and leave. But no. So, who is watching and what is your favorite type of music to listen to? Comment quickly. So, let's share our music tastes with each other or whatever. Yo, when I'll be in Delhi, it would be for pure work. And I don't think I go out or do anything like that. So, sorry. Indie. Ah, interesting. I don't think I've ever heard indie in my life. I listen to a lot of like rap and hip hop, but interesting. What's your favorite TV show? What is something you love? I'm big on TV shows. Comment your TV show down below, your favorite TV show. It's so hot here. I don't know how I pulled off an hour. It's fucking insane. Mr. Robot? What's that? Is it on Netflix or something? Mr. Robot. I see. Interesting. Yeah. That's cool as fuck. I watch a lot of fucking Korean TV shows, which is insane. Like, I don't know why I watch that shit, but have you ever watched Suits? Suits, the law firm show. I love Suits. I think Mr. Robot maybe would be in its category or something. I don't know. I love Suits because no, I haven't. Shit, I haven't. Wait, let me quickly Google it. Maybe I have. Like, I don't know. Give me a second. Mr. Robot. Ah, I see. That's crazy. Interesting. Oh shit, I love Suits. I watched that shit so many times. Interesting. That's cool. I don't know. I just like very different, weird kind of TV shows. I love Korean TV shows because it's so much about like just love and family, and it's just such a light watch because I'm always like going crazy watching fucking rap and hip hop, and once I'm so stressed out, Korean TV shows and like just really chill TV shows about like friendship and Suits was so much about friendship. That's why I really loved it. And these smart, clever ass people love that shit. That's why I loved it. I cannot believe we pulled off this shit for 1 hour. That is so cool. It's very soapy. It is soapy. I love like soapy shit, I guess. Yo, it's my first live stream for an hour. That's crazy. I love that. And I have like all these comments and it's cool as fuck. I have one like. Thank you, man. Thank you. I am so thankful. Thank you so much. It means the world. And it's fucking 3:30 in the morning. Shit. All right, I'm gonna go and try to do some more shit and see you guys. But the biggest value I can provide today is I beg you guys, please invest your time in Gary Vee. That guy is insane. You can find so much value in him. He's changed my life. I feel like so much I will accomplish in the future would be because I discovered him. And I really hope you find value in him. Value in him. He is amazing. So on point with his advices, with the culture. He really is together. And that's it. So thank you so much. I'm gonna say bye now and see you guys. Bye. Bye guys. I'm just trying to figure out how to end it. Wait, is there a possibility where we can save the live stream? I do not know. Uh Fine, whatever. Bye, guys. See you. Thank you so much, Red Tipsy, Osman, and I think Vedant was one person who's watching. Thank you, guys. I love you. Bye. Have a great fucking day.